Trump said earlier in the week he might increase tariffs on Chinese goods by 10% as soon as February 1st, which some see as a softer stance compared to previous threats. Now, this afternoon, several outlets reporting new Secretary of State Marco Rubio and China's foreign minister spoke via phone for the first time as well. So how are businesses preparing for all of the uncertainty ahead? Joining us now is Anya Manuel, Aspen Strategy Group Executive Director. Anya, it's great to have you back on the show. Welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So that's exactly where I want to start, because we are 5 days into the Trump presidency. We have had many dozens of executive orders and other announcements that have come out. But in terms of the China piece of this, and I realize in his first term it was very carrot stick in terms of foreign policy. Is that what we're seeing again now with what is being seen as or being considered a softer stance with China with these comments over the last 24 hours?
Morgan, I think you're exactly right. That's exactly what we're seeing. I thought the speech by President Trump praising Xi, saying they want to have a positive relationship, they just want an equal playing field, that's all good. You need to talk to the Chinese. That doesn't mean you need to cave to the Chinese. An important reason for talking to a country that you may consider a competitor is to make sure there are no misunderstandings. And so, for example, I think one of the best things that happened in the last administration is that these military to military dialogues between China and the U.S. restarted to make sure that an accident in the military field doesn't get out of control.
Do you think that communication at that level continues now within the Trump administration, and perhaps just as importantly, in a week where there's a lot of focus on AI and AI investment, and OpenAI, in the midst of the Stargate announcement, investments down in Texas, said this is there's a national security aspect to it. I guess that intersection of tech, of military, when you do think about the U.S. versus China.
Yeah, that intersection is very critical. And it's really where the race between the U.S. and China is on. If you see, your last guest was talking about DeepSeek, the latest Chinese AI model, very powerful, much less expensive in its training runs than our highest level AI models here. And that's important to the extent that the U.S. and China are in a technology race. The pieces of technology for me that are the most important are the ones that touch national security. So that's artificial intelligence, it's semiconductors, it's 5G and 6G. And I think it's good that the Trump administration is taking that race seriously.
Anya, you mentioned DeepSeek, and this R1 model this week caught a lot of attention as well. And there's suggestions out there that to run it, maybe the Chinese have gotten their hands, this company, this quant firm, on as many as 50,000 NVIDIA H100s, which they're not supposed to be able to get their hands on. And then they're open sourcing this model of theirs, which undercuts the pricing of an OpenAI and so many other companies. Is this on par with what's happening with electric vehicles in Europe? How should we think about the economic implications of DeepSeek?
Interesting. I don't know yet. To be honest, it's too soon to tell. I know that the technologists that I know out in Silicon Valley, where I live, are still playing with DeepSeek, understanding its capabilities. It's a little unclear how it was trained. We are going to know more in a couple of weeks. But the Chinese are going to have a really important technology and innovation ecosystem, and we should not count them out. So to the extent that we are resting on our laurels or that we think we shouldn't be running faster, we need to be running faster. And so some of the things that I find most promising about this administration is that so many people from the tech realm who have deep experience in technology and in running tech businesses are going in to serve.
What about global influence? President Trump is testing some of those alliances. How do you expect China to respond at a time when its consumer economy is rather weak?
Yeah, alliances are incredibly important. We cannot go it alone in the international system. And one of the biggest strengths we have as the United States is that we have real friends and allies. The Chinese really don't. They have a no limits friendship with Russia. That's not going so well for them. We have real alliances with Japan, with South Korea, with others in the Indo-Pacific, and I thought it was great that one of the things that didn't get a lot of press, but the first meeting that Secretary of State Marco Rubio did was with the 4 Quad foreign ministers. So that's our friends, the Australians, the Japanese, and the Indians. I think that's a good sign.